here today with Ms. Trenea Prosser. And I'm very excited about talking to Ms. Trenea because I met her on Clubhouse and she is so funny, such an interesting character. I cannot wait to read you her bio. Okay. Tranea Prosser, also known as Comedian Miz T, is a rising star in the comedy scene, gaining national recognition with her debut comedy album, Back at Ya Lord. She was runner-up for Comedian of the Year at the 2010 Texas Gospel Music Excellence Awards and a nominee for the 2013 Comedian of the Year by the Gospel Sounds Radio Network. Her clean, non-profane comedy style appeals to audiences of all ages and has earned her praise across the United States. Miz T is not only a talented comedian, but also a singer, MC, and published author of Celibacy, What Was I Thinking? With performances at various events and venues, she continues to spread laughter and joy while remaining humble and grateful for her gifts. Ms. T's highlights include being a finalist in the 2011 Texas Christian Comedy Talent Search and Opening for Ben Tankard in 2011, showcasing her versatile comedic talents and commitment to using her platform for good causes, like hosting fundraisers for families affected by sickle cell disease. Wow. Trenea Prosser, I am so happy to have you here.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate that.
Yes. So tell me a bit more about your comedy and how you got started.
Well, I started as a Sunday school teacher. At the age of 8, I started teaching my peers, and I taught Sunday school till I was 16. I got interested in boys, duh. So that's where the bulk of my comedy comes from. I grew up in a traditional Baptist church, and I've just seen a lot of things that happened in the church that really were funny. And so that's what I talk about. But mostly my Sunday school kids, I talk about family, but things that just happen, and then God gives me stuff, and I'm like, Lord, I'm driving. I can't write that down. How am I going to remember that? So, right. But it's for everyone. I mean, I've did comedy in front of white crowds, mixed crowds, Hispanic crowds. I've even did it where someone was translating in English for me. I was like, oh, wow, this is cool,
Yeah.
So, so it's for everybody. Nobody has to plug their ears. And I think that's the biggest thing that I'm proud of is I have a product that for any age, it could be heard on the radio, nobody, without being bleeped and people covering the ears of the kids, and the old people covering their own ears are looking at me crazy like, hey girl, know better than to say that, so.
Yeah. And you mentioned you started at the age of 8. You started at the age of 8. What did comedy mean for you when you were that young?
Well, I didn't start comedy at that age. I just started, my material came from me being a Sunday school teacher, and I started teaching Sunday school at the age of 8. Oh. I didn't do the comedy till I was really in my 30s, I think. I had been hosting and emceeing a lot of social programs for like 10 years. And so I would share these stories about my kids or the Sunday school stories and all of that. And so people would come up to me afterwards and say, you know what, I really enjoyed you. I liked the program, but I really enjoyed you, And I said, you know what, I need to hurry and put these out before I forget them. Anything could happen. These are some funny stories. And so my motivator in 2004 and 5 was to work on creating a project that would be played on the air, like I said, that didn't have to be bleeped. And so in 2008, I recorded Back at You, Lord, and I'm just giving God back the gifts. One of the gifts he's given me, since he gave me the gift of gab, but this is what I've done with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So what are some of the challenges that you've faced in your comedy career?
the biggest challenge I face in my comedy career is that it's still a male dominated occupation or
Right.
vocation.
Mm.
And it's not too many clean comedians anyway. And there
Mm.
are some secular comedians who have come to the church saying, oh, I can provide comedy for you, but their content is still pushing the envelope, even if they're not cursing, you know.
Right.
Uh,
Yes.
but so I had to ask somebody what was blue comedy because they say you don't do blue comedy, and I said, "What is blue comedy? What are you talking about?" Because I
Yeah.
don't know what that means. But I said no. When they explained it to me, I was like, "No, that's not what I do." And I've had people say, "I could write for you." I said, "If it's clean." Otherwise, don't, because I don't want to have to remember, oh, don't put that word there. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm not doing
I
that.
do. I
Yeah.
do. I think it's so important to have clean comedy because, as somebody, I enjoy comedy, and I want my children to enjoy comedy. So
Mhm.
I know that there's something called dry bar, and we're always listening to dry bar comedy, because that's the only comedy that we can find that is
Mhm.
certified no swearing.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I had an opportunity to come to what is it? A career day, come and speak at career day. And
Mhm.
so I told the lady, I said, well, what do you want me to speak about? Being a comedian or being an author? And she said, well, being an author, she said, but the thing of it is you have to have a writing component to it. So I had to write a challenge for me, but I rose to the occasion. I wrote a creative writing class for
Yeah.
third and fourth graders. And because I made two presentations, one to the third graders and then one to the fourth graders, and they were more advanced than me, girl. But anyway, I created a writing piece in it, and I thought, well, what could I have them write about? And I said, the only thing they would know is to write about the funniest story you ever heard, whether you heard it from your mom, your dad, your papa, whoever in your family, and let that be the beginning of how you can flesh out writing comedy, right? So I had to have the writing component. Then after that, for the Q&A, I said, does anyone have any questions? Everybody's hand went up. And I said, oh, okay. But they
Yeah.
all wanted to tell me jokes. And I was like, okay, well, I wrote that in for the next time I do
Right.
it. And so I just looked at the teacher and I said, it's okay with me if it's okay with you. You know these children, you know. And so we created the stage and let them come and tell the stories that cracked them up. And so, so it was a good hit. I'd say it went over well.
Yeah. 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 Well, you do come across well. You are just so warm and loving, and the way that you phrase things, you make it amusing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'd like to talk to you about your book,
Hmm.
Celibacy. What were you thinking? Can you tell me what inspired this book?
Well, a young lady who was interested in being my manager had asked me had I considered writing a book, and I was like, about what? I've been single a long time, and I was like, I was trying to think of a topic, and I said, baby, the only thing I could think of that I've done long enough to write about was about my celibacy walk. But who would be interested in that, right? That's what I was thinking.
Mm.
And 2 months later, it was pressed upon me to go ahead and write that book. And I'm like, Lord, who's gonna buy it? Don't worry about it. Just write the book.
Yeah.
So that was the challenge, and I kind of dismissed it. I wasn't taking it seriously because I got the impression that everybody was doing it. Everybody who was a singer wrote a book. Everyone who was acting wrote a book, as if it's just something else you needed to do. And I didn't look at it as something I needed to do because Um, but anyway, it turned out about 3 months later, I had to take it to heart and go ahead and write the book. So I did.
Yeah. So if you didn't need to do it, what was your reason for doing it?
Well, I was spiritually impressed on my heart to go ahead and do it, and I was like, but and there were parts of it that I didn't want to put in there. But
Mm,
one thing I've learned over these years in leading praise and worship is that when you're being transparent in your lifestyle and in your ministry, you have to be transparent in every area.
mm,
So the part that I wanted to leave out, it turns out that's the part that the people or the women who read it remember the most, and they were feeling like, oh my God, I'm not the only one who felt like this. Oh my God. I was like, wow, if I had left that out, that would have been a missing part that, you know, um, well, I wouldn't have cared. I just felt like I just didn't want to share that. I felt like it was too personal. I didn't really want everybody to know all of that side of me. But
right.
God is like, yeah, but you got to let it out. So
Mm,
I'm glad I did add it, because if it's been a blessing to help other women feel set free or set them free, then that was the purpose of the book. You know what I mean? It's for
right.
them not to feel like they walking through this journey alone, because I'm not the only person who's not dating and haven't, been married. It's been over 15 years, and I don't count it. I'm not counting it as if I'm trying to impress somebody. I just haven't thought about it. I just kept on, living life.
Yeah.
It's not like
Yeah.
I put myself on the shelf and didn't do nothing and I'm dusty. Now you come dust me down. I'm just living life. I raised my kids. I kept focusing on my ministries
Yeah.
and and then other assignments of life come, and kept working my state job, which I'm finally retired. Hallelujah. Okay. And
Mm.
so, bro, you didn't ask about that, but
Well, I noticed you said that you've got kids. I wasn't aware that you had children.
I have two young sons who are married with families, so I am a grandma girl. I got five wonderful grandbabies.
Yeah.
So that's what part of my retirement is still promoting the book, because you never stop promoting your book, no matter if you make the national sellers list or not. It doesn't stop. The comedy doesn't stop.
Yes.
Life happened a lot, and in 2021, I moved from 2017 to 2021 was really tough for me. A lot of that I put on the side, and I had to, because I had to put my mom in a nursing home, and
Mm,
I was her primary caregiver. So I was
mm,
learning a different assignment of life at that time. And it was very challenging, and I felt overwhelmed. But
mm.
now I'm kind of like, all right, now what am I got to go back to that, because I still got to promote the book. I still got to, I've written some other, uh, I won't say new chapters. I've just decided that I would rather put them in a master class instead of writing another book. So
Oh,
I've just added to the components to my book that I've put in a class. So you'd have to go read the book and catch up. And when you come to class, we'll discuss some things. And then, so I've decided to do it like that instead of creating a workbook, a whole nother book. I'm
yeah.
like, I don't want to keep up with inventory like that, girl. I've gotten quick, smart, and lazy. Okay.
So what you're saying is you have created a program based on your book.
Yeah. Well, I'm tightening it up. But that's how I chose to do it. Yes.
Wow. Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, I would like to know how you published your book.
I self-published, and
Yeah.
I pitched it to a couple of places, but their response time was slow,
Mm,
laggard, and then they were coming back saying, "Oh, but I'd have to buy my own book back from them," that kind of thing, and I was like, "Uh, no, I might as well go on and self-print. So I found a print-on-demand service
Right.
and printed out my first 100 books and had a book signing and sold out. And then I went back and printed out some more, so I've done it that way. And that works good for me, to do it that way. So now, and I sell as many books as I do CDs now when I go perform, because I have both on the table, But yeah, so and I'm still excited about it. I guess, yeah, I'm still excited about it.
That's awesome. So can you tell me how you sold out your first 100 books?
Well, I had a book signing that, check this out, girl. Okay, so I call myself trying to become cultured, fine, and everything. So I was in a wine club and I'm in a coffee club.
Okay.
So I don't drink enough wine fast enough. So I was given these bottles as gifts, wedding gifts. Somebody got a birthday. Here's a glass of wine, because I'm still trying to find which flavor I like best, the white or the red, not the, So 3 bottles a year, I'm in AA. Okay. I'm such a lightweight. But anyway, so I had these bottles of wine for people to win, right? Guess who won them? The preachers.
Oh.
The preachers were the ones who won.
So funny.
The bottles of wine.
Yes.
But I had a book signing when those were some of the gifts. I had a blues man come who played his harmonica. I had a young lady come who read poetry. And then I had a comedian friend of mine come and do some comedy. So it was a little gathering, and then I had hors d'oeuvres served. And my mom was like, and then after all of that, then there was, people in line to buy the book and get it signed and everything. And so my mom says, I don't know what you're going to do next, but how you going to top this? Because she had a ball. She had a ball. She said, I really enjoyed myself. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you're right. I don't know how I'm going to top this, but yeah, I'm glad she was able to be there for the highlight of my life. And she's been there for those. So,
wow, you'd call it a highlight of your life.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't expect to be an author. I didn't plan to be an author. Heck, I didn't plan to be a comedian either. It just turned out that that's the way it went, So, like I told one guy friend, I said, them doors of heaven gonna swing open. My hips gonna swing them and keep them open. So I'm just ready to go right through. Just keep on rolling and grinning as I go. I mean,
Yeah. Trenea, could you tell me what help you would have appreciated during your writing and publishing process?
What? I'm not sure about what kind of help I didn't know that I didn't need. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know, you don't know. And since I've never written a book before, I did ask questions of some veterans, for the content to put in my book that I could share from some women who were married, some women who weren't. But and I understand my book's a little different from other people's. Is not fiction.
Yeah.
And I guess if it had been that kind of category, it might have been something I would have probably had to be asking some different things. But since I wasn't putting romance in it and boy meets girl and they fall in love kind of thing, it's like, well, I don't have no advice to ask about that. So I'm honestly not sure what I would have been able to ask for, because I wouldn't know. I didn't know what I did need to ask. Does that make sense?
Did you have like a supportive writing community or writing team around you? You said you could ask some questions to people.
Well, the questions I asked were of women. The thing was, the book was written, and I didn't realize it, because I had five journals that I had written in starting since 2000. So my book was already written. I just had to go back and put them together as chapters and then typing all of that. Lord, transcribing my own handwriting. I'd have probably hired somebody. If I'd known somebody needed an internship for journalism, I would have hired them to do all the typing. But it was challenging to be working full time and doing that full time because I'd forget about what time it is, and 2 o'clock in the morning is past, and it's like, you know what, I do need to get up at 5. So yeah, I was burning the candles at the past midnight. So now that I've had the experience, I would know to do things a little differently now. So now I would try to create an internship for someone in journalism. Yeah.
So, okay.
So that would be a supportive tool that I didn't have before, that I know now I would need, and that would hopefully create some experience for someone, who needs it to finish up their college degree. So, I'd be open to do that.
Have you thought about launching your book to becoming a bestseller?
I would love to know how to do that. I think that a lot of us mature women, I'm saying that because I'm over 60 now, so a lot of us mature women, I kind of need to be reminded that we're still our self-value is still worth something, and that not to give up hope. I mean, I have been divorced over 25 years. I still hope to remarry. Yes, even at this age. But see, God got jokes because he shared some with me. But he's got jokes. It'd be my luck that when I'm 65, he'll bring somebody 70 around, and we'll be trying to go down the aisle racing each other to the altar to get married. So God got jokes. But I still holding out hope that I would be able to, be married again. But my whole mentality about marriage is different at this age. Now that I've got retirement out the way than it was, say, 10 years ago, because I wasn't even looking to try to retire at 60 and, and stuff. So, yeah, it would be, it's a little different. It's a little different.
And you have this book, and I can see that you still have things that you want to do with this book. You might want to launch it to be a bestseller. You might want to have a masterclass based on around the book. I would like to know, what does creating this book and having this book, what has it meant for you?
It has meant a lot of growth personally and spiritually. And then it has solidified my disciplined lifestyle that I was already living before I wrote the book, because I threw out the romance novels so that I would not be having my future guy that's in front of me competing with this imaginary man who's in my head, who looks like a caramel latte something. I don't even know what skin tone that is. I can't tell you what hue or brown that is. He just sounds like something from Starbucks. And so I'll get hungry thinking about those kind of names you putting those together. So I think, to be fair, that it was necessary for me to throw out the romance novels, so I don't read those. So I'm protecting my eye gate, what I'm reading, and then what I'm hearing, because if I'm reading that, it's in my thoughts, right? So I've just prepared myself so that when he comes, I can judge him based on his own merit and not have him competing with somebody who's invisible that he wouldn't be able to match because he's in my head, So I've eliminated that's out of the way. And so I think that's the biggest part of it, what we can keep in our heads and try to move forward and make happen. And when it doesn't work, we're frustrated. We, the women, we're more frustrated than him because he doesn't meet my standard. Well, baby, the imaginary man can't meet your standards either, you know. So
Right.
yeah, so let's not create barriers. So I just want to make
Yeah.
sure that there aren't any.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. So you're saying that the book has meant personal growth, reflection, and I remember you saying that you basically use it as a business card at your events.
Yes, I do. Um, I had one guy ask me, "Is this a male mashing book?" And I was like, "A male bashing book?" I said, "No, no, that's not what it is. It's not that at all. I'm not bashing men at all. I love y'all. Y'all just crazy, but I love you.
Yeah.
But I love you." But no, and my girlfriends, I tell my girlfriends all the time, I say, "Y'all gonna teach me how to get my own man, especially the ones that are married." I always tell them, I said, "You're gonna teach me how to make a peach cobbler so good that you know it'll go right to his stomach. And you're gonna teach me how to bet my eyes or wear my eyelashes. Y'all got something to teach me." So I'm hanging around y'all. So I keep married people in my pocket.
Oh, Trenea, oh, Trenea. So what advice would you give to other people who are thinking about writing a book?
I would say whatever your subject is, let it be something you're familiar with, that
Mm,
you've already or become very familiar with it if it's something that you don't normally do.
mm,
And because I'm at the point now that I'm wanting to create brochures about abstinence
mm,
because there aren't any available in our high schools and junior high schools for our kids to help them make intelligent decisions.
mm,
So there's a need there, even though I didn't see it in 2013 when I started writing the book or putting it together. But I see a need now that that's an area that is totally untapped.
mm,
And there's nothing to help our kids stop and slow down and think about, you know, even if you haven't thought about what you want to do as a career, you still can just learn to live a little bit, learn to live and enjoy blowing bubbles just because, you know, the wind's blowing today and just, you know,
yeah,
watching the beautiful rainbows that reflect on those bubbles for they burst, you know, little simple things, but maybe I'm a little sentimental because I'm enjoying that. I enjoyed those simple. I was a tomboy coming up girl, so you kind of I could outrun a football, but I can't play now. But but yeah, just to help them just enjoy life, but then to know what their options are. Just because you meet somebody doesn't mean that you just immediately have sex with them. You immediately have a relationship. No, just slow your roll a little bit. Slow your roll and just enjoy life. You know, you still learning who you are. Because I'm still learning who I am.
right.
You know, it doesn't stop. So you don't know everything there is to know about you at age 20 and 21.
Yeah.
You know, because you're going to live a little bit and some things are going to change by the time you hit your 30s. And
Mm,
some things are going to change by the time you hit your 40s. Now,
mm,
the character of who you are won't change, but some of the ways you are thinking will
mm,
change because you will have learned some things that you can implement in your life,
mm,
some skills that you can implement in your life.
mm.
Um, so I'm sorry, you made me go to church now. So feel like
Yeah.
I'm preaching to the choir, and I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry.
No, you're talking about the advice that you would give to other
Mhm,
authors. You'd
mhm,
say you need to research your topic, right?
mhm,
Slow down and research your topic,
mhm. Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah. And
Thank you.
then you want whatever you have to be proud. Be proud of what your product is. You know, so if the outcome, if you want to be an exotic writer, that's cool. Go ahead, but be proud of what you know you submit to people. So
Right.
just be proud of whatever it is that you create.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you, Trenea. It's been wonderful talking to you. How can we find you on social media? If somebody wants to find you, how do we find you?
well, I have a website, that is active and is brand new to me. Because it's been upgraded. Hey, I got to upgrade. Okay, sorry. I went Beyonce there. I didn't mean to pull up, girl. Pull up. Okay.
Great.
It's www.miztcomedy.com. That's my website. And I have a few videos there if you want to see what I look like and what I talk about. And then the book, Celibacy, What Was I Thinking? And my Back at You, Lord comedy CD projects are available from there as well.
Great.
I have a very active Facebook account.
Oh, you do?
I post every day, yes.
Oh,
and I also post on Twitter, but I'm very active on Facebook.
Okay. And, I'll have to get your Facebook. I'll have to get your Facebook address from you, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to reference all of your socials and your website on the videos that I put on. Yeah.
Well, it's easy to find because it has my government name on it, just like my government name's on the book. That's where my Facebook.
Okay.
So, yeah. But thank you so much for the invitation and for visiting with me and talking with me. I just love your accent, girl. You sound like you have a British accent. And I was just like, she can call my name all day if she wants to. Call my name. See, you made me sing a song already. See?
Thank you, Trenea. It's been wonderful talking to you and getting to know you better.
Oh, thank you for this opportunity. And good morning over there in Talk.